All right. So when we're talking about getting healthy, we're talking about making changes of any kind. And this is, you know, however you want to change whatever you're doing, whether it's, you know, you want to change the way your spiritual function or your physical function or whatever, you have to start changing your mind before you can start changing everything else around you. And I talk to people all the time who want to get healthy and they want it to fit into their life. They're like, well, I still want to eat all this food, all the fast food and stuff like that. And I don't really want to work out, but I want to be healthy. And that's not really how it works. At a certain point, you kind of have to be like, okay, I've got to take all the responsibility on me because I'm changing me. There isn't somebody who's going to come and you know do the work for you or save you or that sort of thing. Lots of times people come in and they're like, I just need somebody to call me every day and make sure I'm getting up, I'm eating the right foods, and call me every day and make sure I'm going to go work out, and call me every day and make sure I'm going to bed at the right time. That's not a thing very many people are going to do. You've got to start developing something on your own to get that piece kind of set. Now we can coach that. I coach that all the time. I kind of tell people like, here's some ways of doing it. Here's some ideas, but it's something that you always have to kind of do yourself. This is one of the reasons why, fit tone bodies, by body transformations, by changes from people's health is so, appreciated and respected, because people understand the change in the dynamic and what you've got to do. And a lot of times it's not that your friends are bad people. It's just that they're not serving you in this manner anymore. So if your friends love to get together and, drink until, 11 or 12 or, 2 a.m. and then go to Taco Bell, they are probably not going to be the guys who are going to get up and go to the gym with you. Now you might find that if you're 20, because I remember doing that a lot when I was 20. But you kind of have to make decisions as you go along, where are you going to be and how you're going to do it. And as you start doing that, it is one of those things where you're going to start recognizing that, there are influences and there are things in your life that either drive you to one side or drive you to the other. And so, a lot of times what you have to do is you have to figure out where you want to be. Where do you want to go? What example do you want to set? What type of man or woman do you want to be? And then figure out, okay, how do I accomplish those things? If you're like, well, I want to lose some weight. I want to get healthier. I want to, build some muscle and stuff like that. Where you're going to have to change your diet, most likely. You're going to have to go to the gym, most likely. You're going to have to check your hormones. You're going to start sleeping. So you're going to have to do these things. And a lot of times you have to look at your life and be like, what are the things that are holding me back? And if you're like, well, my job's holding me back. Maybe. There's a whole bunch of people who work a whole lot of hours who still get their sleep, get worked out, get the whole deal. A lot of people are going to be like, well, it's my friend group. And that's most likely where you're going to have to start making some changes. And that's very, very difficult. And I get it. But that's kind of one of those things. You've got to have to, we hear a lot online that no one's coming to save you. That's true. No one's coming to change your life for you. You have to change your life. If you want change, you've got to do it. And that is hard and that sucks. And, once you start changing the mindset of not, I want to get physically in shape, or not, I want to, lose the weight, or I want to get physically healthy. You've got to make the change in your mindset first. You're going to be like, this is important enough to me. One of the big things I try to do when we do our goals calls is create lists of things like how's your energy, how's your strength, how's your sex drive, how's, all of these parameters to show you that your life is not really where you want it to be, but also so we can have a metric of, are we getting better? Are we moving in the right direction? But at the same time, you've got to make those decisions. You've got to stop, whenever it's like slightly inconvenient, running over and getting, fast food, or, oh, I'm too tired to do X, Y, and Z today, so I'll just order something and have it brought in. You've got to start planning ahead and being like, I'm probably going to be too tired to do X, Y, and Z on these days, so we should come up with a different plan. We should either meal prep beforehand or, have something in the house that we can put together really quickly so that we can get through this. And all those things a lot of these things are things that you don't think of as you're changing your lifestyle. And I get it, that's great. But as you start doing these things and recognizing, oh, here was a hole in my program, you've got to figure out how to fix that hole today. Because again, you're not going to think of everything you've got to do because you don't know what all you've got to do as you go through. Now you can get with people like me or trainers or whoever who've been like, oh, I've done this 65 times. And by the way, here are some things that you've got to make sure that you recognize and you guys start trying to go out and change. So for instance, if you've got a bunch of cookies and trash in your pantry, the chances that you might eat some of the cookies and trash in your pantry are high. So maybe swap some of those things out for different things. Maybe we should, talk to the whole family and be like, hey, whole family, here's what's going on. So, and some of your kids, some of those people are going to hate that idea, but again, if you're the parent, be the parent. And that sucks. I know, because I'm a parent. But at the same time, you've got to be in charge of something. So at the end of the day, getting healthy, getting in shape, making any type of change in your personal life, in your family life, in whatever, is going to require you to kind of come to terms with the things that you've got to make changes on. And then you got to plan how to make those changes. So whenever we're starting to talk about, people call me all the time, like, what peptide will do this for me? What, like, if I jump on hormone therapy, will it do this? And all these things. And it's one of those things where it's like, these things are great and peptides are fantastic. And a lot of times, because of what's going on, you have to use some of these things to get where you need to go or where you want to go. And that's great. But we talk about baking the cake all the time. And if you're not putting all the things together to get where you want to go, you're just not going to get there. You're going to spin your wheels. You're going to get frustrated. And so you'll kind of understand what all needs to go into whatever life change you're trying to make, and then start trying to change the things in you and around you as quickly as you can, because those are the things that get you where you want to go. If you start going to the gym and start hanging out with gym people, you're going to be a gym person. If you start going to church and hanging out with church people, you're going to be a church person. So, if you start going to the bars, hanging out with bar people, you're going to be a bar person. I've done all those things, so I can tell you that is true for as far as I have personally seen and everybody I've ever talked to. So, if you're looking to get healthy, if you're looking to change things, if you're looking at the world right now and being like, I'm done with these guys, and you want to make something different for yourself, figure out who you want to be, and then plan your life to what change needs to change in your personal life to get you where you want to go. We do this a lot with divorced dads. We do this a lot with, young kids with their sophomore, junior, senior year of college, where they start looking at their future and going, I don't know where I want to go with this. But that's kind of where it is. So if you can figure out who you want to be and really nail that down, it's really easy, because you're like, here I am now. Here's where I want to go. All right, cool. Now I can create a path. If you don't know where you're trying to go and you don't know where you are, it's really difficult to try to create a path. So the very first thing you need to do, so that you're trying to get healthy or make any change in your life, is figure out exactly where you are and exactly where you want to go, then plan out your plan, and then just act your plan. So that's probably the biggest thing I can tell you. If you're trying to, if you're waiting for somebody to come save you, it ain't gonna happen. But if you decide to start making the changes, that's how you make the changes. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? How do I get from point A to point B? And that'll get you where you want to go. So if you guys have any questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com, and we'll get you guys going. Thanks for your time. Have a fantastic day.